Welcome in, everybody, to the second mock draft here on the channel. I'm Jack. I will be your host for tonight, and as always, and things look a little different tonight. We are live streaming instead of a pre-recorded video, so this is quite the difference here tonight. Welcome in, everybody, to the. Excuse me, everybody. Sorry about that. I was just had that tab open on another channel monitoring the chat there, so I'll mute that there for a second. But yeah, we are live here tonight to discuss the second mock draft of the new 2026 football season. Again, it doesn't officially start until March 11th, but it's never too late to start a mock draft. Before we start this second mock draft here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you guys like Jet content and want to hear more Jet content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like the live stream, make sure to hit that like button. I'm plugging in my other social medias in here as well, where you can find clips and announcements over there on social media on Instagram and X. It is Jack Talks Jets on both of those platforms. Again, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It is a free way to help the channel grow and to help reach other Jet fans in desperate need of therapy, like myself included, already at 16 years old. But anyway, so let's get started with this mock draft, ladies and gentlemen. We will be wasting no time and heading into this mock draft here. And again, you guys can call into the show to give your thoughts as well after I am done handing my thoughts over on my second mock draft. You can hand your thoughts over as well. The call-in link is pinned at the top of your screen, or the top of the chat, excuse me. I won't be taking calls, however, until after I am done with each of my discussions. So let's get right into it without wasting any time. So I have every single one of my draft prospects here for the New York Jets to pick between rounds 1 through 7. And as you can see right in the middle of this graphic, there is one round where the Jets do not have a pick. I will get into that in just a second. But we are starting off with round 1, pick 2, and that is Rueben Bain, the edge rusher out of Miami. And first of all I got to say is this guy, in my opinion, in both the stopping the run and stopping the pass, is hands down the best edge rusher in this entire draft class. I know I said Arvell Reese is my prime pick at number 2, and he still is. Him or Rueben Bain are my top 2 picks that I want the New York Jets to get at number 2 in this upcoming 2026 NFL draft. Do I think Reese is the better overall athlete? Yes. But in terms of just straight up defensive end structure, Rueben Bain is the best defensive end in this draft class. He's very aggressive off of the ball. He's very quick and explosive. And unlike some edge rushers who are primarily just great at rushing the quarterback and rushing the pass, Bain is dangerous against both the pass and the run. He consistently sets the edge. He stuffs rushers and forces offenses to account for him on every single down that he is playing football. I mean, he gets, in today's NFL, you got to get after the quarterback. You got to get after the quarterback. That's how you change games. And you got to get after the runner as well. I mean, lately with the New York Jets is really what I'm trying to say here. The New York Just realized my mic was muted there for a second. You got to get after the quarterback. Like I said, that's how you change games. Bain's first step and rush arsenal makes offenses uncomfortable instantly, right? You got to be able to stop the run in today's NFL. And with the past couple of years, the New York Jets have struggled mightily in stopping the run. Will McDonald, yes, sure, he's a good pass rusher, but in terms of stopping the run, Will McDonald is one of the worst defensive ends in the entire NFL in stopping the run, which is why I think if the New York Jets draft Rueben Bain at number 2, it helps a lot with the foundation and the rotation of this defensive line, specifically these DNs. So I think Rueben Bain is a perfect pick at number 2 for the Jets. And this guy isn't one-dimensional, like I said. He fixes 2 big holes in this defense at once, which is why I think the New York Jets should pursue in a defensive end, specifically Rueben Bain at number 2. And I think that is a huge and realistic scenario for the New York Jets at number 2. Like I said in my last mock draft video, I said these weren't going to be solely opinionated. I'm going off of facts here as well. And factually, The Jets need help at their D end spot. And Ruben Bain, who would pass up on Ruben Bain? Right? If the Jets have Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain at number 2, they're going to get one of the two. I guarantee you that. A name that maybe I could see is Caleb Downs as another name, or David Bailey, but that's really it. Other than that, Arvell Reese and Ruben Bain are my prime 2 options that I think the New York Jets will take at number 2. So let's move on to the 16th overall pick in the NFL draft here, that being Makai Lemon, the wide receiver out of USC in 2025, right? Makai Lemon led the Power 4 conferences with 1,156 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns, and elite production every single snap that he was on the field. He also ranked near the top nationally in receptions, yards, and big plays for the Trojans last season. And he's a very consistent chain mover and a difference maker for any offense. Sure, I get it. He's not a tall receiver that the Jets mostly need right now. However, Lemons would add significant skill that the Jets are lacking in that receiver room right now. And quite frankly, Jet fans, analysts, the Jets coaching staff, they can't be picky with any receivers that they are handed right now in the draft. Because in my opinion, this is a great draft in terms of wide receivers. You have Carnell Tate, a big-bodied guy who can also play great in the slot. That's very rare to see. Makai Lemons, a very speedy, very trustworthy wide receiver. And you have Denzel Boston, a very lanky, tall, big wide receiver who can go up and get those contested catches. I had the Jets picking Denzel Boston in my last Jets mock draft. However, in this one, I have the New York Jets picking Makai Lemon out of USC. I mean, you want reliability. You want someone who gets the ball and makes the plays? That's Makai Lemon, right? This guy isn't catching passes because of speed. He reads defenses and finds space as soon as that ball is snapped. And based off the tape I've seen off Makai Lemons, in my honest opinion, he might be better than Carnell Tate as an overall wide receiver, right? My top 3 receivers in this draft are Carnell Tate, Makai Lemons, and Denzel Boston. Those are my top 3 wide receivers in this draft. And in my opinion, the Jets should not pass up on all 3 of these guys. Whether they trade up at number 6, 5 through 7, whether they trade up there and select Carnell Tate, whether they wait to go back, whether they wait to get Makai Lemon or Denzel Boston at pick 16, whether that be getting Squirrel White with the very last pick of the NFL of their draft picks this year, which I do have at the bottom of the screen, as you guys can see. The Jets are going to get a receiver regardless. However, I do not believe they should pass on any of those 3 receivers I just named, that being Tate, Lemons, and Boston. I don't think they should pass up on any of them, or on all of them, excuse me. So, moving on to round 2, pick 33, I have C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia for the New York Jets, selecting at pick 33 here. Allen has become one of the most productive defenders in this entire draft class. Him and Sonny Styles are right there, neck and neck for my 2 favorite primary linebackers in this draft, right? Allen racks up big tackle numbers. He put up 88 tackles in 2025, and he earned first-team All-SEC and consensus All-American honors this past season. He shows he's a very great headhunter and playmaker at the highest collegiate level, like a team like the Georgia Bulldogs. You know, he's also known a lot for his reliable tackling technique and and a low missed tackle rate at Georgia, which is huge for a defense that struggled to finish plays consistently, like the New York Jets last season. And Allen isn't just a run stopper. He can blitz, he can cover short zones, and he can contribute in multiple fronts as well in the Jets' new defensive scheme, whatever that may be. You can put him in the middle. You can put him as your Mike, and suddenly your defense has a voice as well. This guy's a natural leader. Seeing him at Georgia, seeing his communication skills, that's something the New York Jets need as well. Because, quite frankly, last season, the Jets defense looked lost on almost every single play they were in. If you have a leader and a communicator like C.J. Allen in the building, I think that can change a lot for this defense that was once a top 3 unit in the NFL just almost 3 years ago. And again, whether that be the run or short passes, Allen will get there fast. and that means fewer yards after contact. He's not a one-trick pony, and he is a complete linebacker package, which is something I really like in CJ Allen from Georgia. So again, great overall linebacker in general and a great leader. If the Jets can have a great communicator like CJ Allen, I think this defense has at least a baseline and is set for the future to at least be somewhat of a competitive unit next season. So, after CJ Allen, then we're going to move on to pick 44 in round 2, that being Dylan Thieneman, safety from the Oregon Ducks. And Thieneman has been one of the most productive safeties in college football recently over the past 2 seasons. Over 300 career collegiate tackles and multiple interceptions in his collegiate career during his time with Purdue and Oregon, showing that he makes plays all over the field. The Jets lack so much depth and so much skill in this safety room. I don't see them bringing back Tony Adams. I don't see them bringing back Andre Cisco. I genuinely don't see the Jets bringing those 2 guys back. So if you're going to start fresh with a very talented young DB core, I think you got to start with Dylan Thieneman. Last mock draft video, I had the Jets taking AJ Halsey, which is a great pick as well. That guy is a pure ball hawk. Same with Dylan Thieneman. Thieneman kind of reminds me, if I had to pick one guy, he kind of reminds me of Justin Simmons in a way. That guy is a pure ball hawk and very physical. Very, very physical. And, you know, Thieneman lines up. Again, a great thing I have in my notes here about Dylan Thieneman as well is that Thieneman lines up all over the defense, right? Whether that be free safety, strong safety, slot coverage, box support, whatever that might be, that kind of versatility will let the Jets match personnel against diverse offensive schemes, right? And when you have a guy like Thieneman that has shown strong ball tracking and interception ability, including clutch picks that have won Oregon and Purdue games before, that is a huge plus in this New York Jets defense, which, by the way, did not rack a single interception last season, which is, in my opinion, the most embarrassing stat that I've ever had to witness as a consistent Jet fan. Right, I would say I only started watching the New York Jets consistently, I would say 9 or 10 years ago. I would say around 2016, the 2016 season, Ryan Fitzpatrick last season with the Jets is when I really started watching them consistently, right? Sure, I started sprinkling it in here when I was in kindergarten back in 2015, but it wasn't really until the next year, 2016, with Fitzpatrick, that I really started getting into the Jets. So in my almost 10 years of consistently watching this team, the 0 interceptions in this past season in 2025 has to be, or at least one of, if I'm forgetting one, the single-handedly worst stat I have ever witnessed as a Jets fan in my lifetime, or at least in my time of being a Jets fan. That is the worst stat that I've ever had to witness. It was awful. So turnovers win games, right? You want a safety who creates them. And in my opinion, that is who Dylan Thieneman is. A pure ball hawk, a very physical receiver. If the Jets can get Dylan Thieneman on the roster, I will be A-okay with that. I will be so happy if the New York Jets are able to land Dylan Thieneman, safety out of Oregon. Moving on now to the weird pick, as you guys can see here on the graphic. Since the Jets do not have a 3rd-round pick this year, after the pick 44, they don't have a 3rd-round pick. They go straight to round 4, pick 103. In this scenario, with Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji not being able to afford another season of unexcused, terrible quarterback play, this is where I could see them making the jump to get a quarterback. The Jets receive pick 73 from the Kansas City Chiefs. In return, the Chiefs get pick 103, a 2026 5th-round pick, which they gave up here. I think I had them give up pick 175 for the 5th round. And a 2026 6th-round pick as well, which I had them giving up pick 193, I believe it was, I gave to the Chiefs there. So the Chiefs received a pick 103, pick 175, and pick 193 in exchange for pick 73. So the New York Jets can go up and get LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier in a trade up from the Kansas City Chiefs. Why this works, okay? You know, the Jets pay a day 3 tax to secure their quarterback. That's, in my opinion, that's smart aggression by Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji. Again, Glenn and Muji cannot afford to have another unexcused, poor-played quarterback season. If the Jets are able to draft a quarterback such as Nussmeier, such as Ty Simpson, such as Drew Aller, etc., if they're Carson Beck even, if they're able to draft a quarterback that is somewhat competitive in this draft, and whether they start him week 1 or whether they have him sit his entire rookie season, they at least have an excuse to move on to year 3 and build that quarterback. This is thinking in my head what Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji should do. Again, not saying that's going to happen, not saying that's the correct move. I've been vocal multiple times on my show that I don't believe the New York Jets should draft a franchise quarterback until 2027. However, my opinions do not mean they're the right opinion, right? That's just what I think. I think that it is best if the Jets go ahead and draft their franchise quarterback in 27, where you have a much better class in Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, and Dante Moore, and Jaden Mayava, right? So, and Sam Levitt, right? So if the Jets can, but if the Jets want to, if Aaron Glenn wants to secure his job, or at least have a chance at having a better chance of not being fired after this upcoming season, I think the New York Jets will get a quarterback sometime in this draft. I believe they will. Whether that be pick 16 with Ty Simpson, whether that be pick 33 with Ty Simpson, whether they trade back up in the first round to get Ty Simpson, whether that be in the second round or third round to get Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Carson Beck, or whoever they want to grab, I think they're going to draft a quarterback regardless in this draft, unfortunately. So, the cons, however, the pros of this pick for Garrett Nussmeier. He's not afraid to push the ball downfield. He's a quick and compact thrower. He can layer throws over linebackers very comfortably. He will attack and not be afraid to attack single coverage. He will not be afraid. I can tell you that right now. And he trusts his tight window throws. He trusts them a lot. However, that's where we get into some cons with Garrett Nussmeier. He's very turnover prone, okay? He forces a lot of his throws. He believes he can make every play a lot of times, and he can put his offense in bad spots sometimes, right? In my opinion, that's why he's not a first-round worthy quarterback this season. Every single person, almost every single football fan, had Garrett Nussmeier being a first-round worthy quarterback heading into this 2025 college football season. And now look where he is. He forces throws, like I said. He believes he can make every play, like I said. And he can put his offenses in bad spots. That is these are 3 very big red flags. And you know who that reminds me of? Zach Wilson. That reminds me a lot of Zach Wilson. Zach had a tough time getting rid of the ball. He broke a lot of sacks and tried to make a play. He would force throws, and he would put the offense in bad spots. That just sounds like a lot of Zach Wilson concern for me. I don't want that to happen to the Jets again. Listen, do I think Nussmeier is a talented quarterback? Absolutely. Would I mind if the Jets draft Nussmeier? Not really, although I would want a quarterback more in 27. But again, I can't be picky if the Jets are... At that point, you got to have to trust Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn that they made the right choice in drafting the Jets' next franchise quarterback, which is why I think they're going to try everything they can to get a quarterback, which is why I think a realistic scenario for the Jets will be to trade up in the draft from pick 103 to pick 73 with the Kansas City Chiefs to select Garrett Nussmeier. I think out of the 3 quarterbacks of Nussmeier, Aller, and Beck, I think Nussmeier is the most realistic to go to the Jets. Yes, Drew Aller is the biggest quarterback, and we all know how much Frank Reich loves his big quarterbacks. But in terms of overall ability, in terms of pure offensive scheme, who I think he fits with best, it's Garrett Nussmeier. So the Jets, I believe, will select a quarterback regardless in this draft. Moving on now to round 5, pick 178. Again, the Jets don't have a 4th-round pick because I traded that to the Kansas City Chiefs to move up to get Garrett Nussmeier at pick 73 in round 3. So round 5, pick 178, I have the Jets drafting Skylar Gilhoward, defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. Look, the Jets lack depth significantly in this defensive tackle room. And I mentioned this in a previous video where I said these are the players the Jets should target to build a better roster in 2026. And Gil Howard was one of them for my defensive tackle spot or my D-line spot. Because, again, for being such a deep, a lower prospect in this draft, right? I think he has great ability to eventually learn behind some veterans and maybe become at least a good or a decent or somewhat above decent defensive tackle in the NFL, right? If the Jets are going to draft Skylar Gilhoward, I think he should sit behind Harrison Phillips and Ja'Wuan Briggs, obviously, to start his NFL career. But over time, Harrison Phillips is going to retire in a couple years. Who knows if Ja'Wuan Briggs was a one-season wonder? Skylar Gilhoward could be the next guy to be the next Quinnen Williams, to be the next DT1 of the New York Jets. Am I saying he's going to be good? No way. I'm just saying Skylar Gilhoward, in my opinion, is one of the best prospects that aren't first round or aren't top 3 or top 3 rounds, round 1, 2, and 3 worthy. Skylar Gilhoward, Zane Durant, those 2 guys would be ideal round 5 picks for the Jets at 178. Moving on to round 6, pick 207. This is kind of the same, mentality here, depth and skill. Esvian Prysock, corner out of Washington. Again, I like his playmaking abilities. I'd have to dive into him a little bit more. I don't know too much about him. But based off what I've seen so far and what I've heard so far, what I've read about him so far, he seems like a serviceable corner that the New York Jets could pick up for depth for this upcoming year. The starting corners, I think, this upcoming year are going to be Brandon Stephens and Azareye'h Thomas. I think that's obvious, right? But if you add another guy in the building behind Jarvis Brownlee, such as Esvian Prysock, I think that adds a lot of depth to this corner roster, which is what the Jets desperately need. Moving on to pick 219, the Jets are going to select another linebacker in this draft, again, to build depth. Xavier Sorey Jr. out of Arkansas, linebacker. This guy, again, these last couple picks, I don't know too much about him. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys straight up. I don't know too much about Sorey and Prysock, but what I do know is that they bring great depth to the roster. These 2 guys have a lot of potential in this draft, a lot of potential for their NFL career, especially Sorey Jr. He's not the best linebacker. By no means is he the best linebacker in this draft. There's a reason why he's a round 7 pick. But I think if you add him, he adds good depth. He adds good depth to the roster. Where I'm thinking is a Francis Mauigoa kind of pick. A Francisco Mauigoa kind of pick for the Jets. They picked Mauigoa late in the NFL draft last season, and he got some opportunities. That's what I think the Xavier Sorey pick would be like. That or a Kobe King kind of pick for the Jets. The Jets didn't pick Kobe King, obviously. They signed him later in the season. But, again, just a depth piece and maybe a guy that can get an opportunity or so in this upcoming year. And finally, last but not least, round 7, pick 243. I have Squirrel White, wide receiver out of Florida State. What a name. Squirrel White. So, again, this is a lot of due to skill. I think Squirrel White has a lot of skill in him out of Florida State. I just feel like he hasn't gotten a lot of chances, right, or a lot of plays to be seen. But I think he has a lot of potential. He's very lanky. He's a good slot receiver, in my opinion. The Jets can put him in a slot, and I think he'd do okay. So I think with the lacking of skill in this Jets receiver room, I think they're gonna get, like I said, they're gonna get a guy like Mekhi Lemon. But if they're gonna get a guy like White to add to the depth, I wouldn't mind that one bit. Again, I have to dive more into these guys. I would say these specifically the first pick 207, pick 219. I would have to dive a little more into, but those guys, what I've seen and what I've read, aren't terrible ideas for the Jets to pick at all. So those are my round 7 picks for this upcoming draft. And so let me get your thoughts, guys, in the chat below again. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you love awesome New York Jets content like this. Make sure to hit that like button if you like Jets content like this. Make sure to follow my social medias as well, Jack Talks Jets on Instagram and X, to find new announcements and new clips every single video or live stream. I will be posting clips after this live stream as well, so I can put that out for you guys on those socials. It doesn't look like we have any callers right now, so I will wait a couple minutes here. If nobody calls in, I'll end the live stream and we will do another live stream sometime this week, hopefully. I'm looking for around maybe Thursday night to do another live stream and just chat with you guys, have a quick, very chill live stream with my viewers talking some Jets. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of holes the New York Jets need to fill in this upcoming draft. I think Rueben Bain is one of the best. He's so aggressive. The thing I like about Rueben Bain a lot, he's so aggressive that I think that's something the New York Jets are mightily struggling with. They're lacking, identity, aggression, overall just playmaking in general. Bain can stop the run and the pass, right? Will McDonald can't do that. Jermaine Johnson's on a career slump right now. It'd be nice to have a guy who can come in there and just dominate. Just dominate. That's really all we're asking for as New York Jet fans. We just need a guy to come in here and dominate. So, and with Arvell Reese as well. I think Arvell Reese is similar to that as well. If Reese can come in here and just compete and dominate, I wouldn't mind if the Jets select him at number 2 as well. So my top 2 guys for the New York Jets to get at number 2 are obviously Arvell Reese and Rueben Bain. If the Jets aren't going to get those guys, I see them getting either David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech, or Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State. Mel Kiper actually recently, in his latest Jets mock draft, he had the in his latest NFL mock draft, he had the New York Jets selecting Caleb Downs at number 2. I wouldn't be too mad about that. However, I think edge is kind of where the Jets I wouldn't say the Jets need more. I feel like edge has kind of a lesser depth in this draft to take a chance on, right? I'd rather take a chance on a guy like AJ Halsey and Dylan Thieneman and at least have them play pretty good in their rookie seasons, because like I broke down here, I think that is very possible. I'd rather take those guys who I'm comfortable with already than take a gamble on passing up on Rueben Bain or Arvell Reese and having to get a guy who is, quite frankly, not as good as a guy like Rueben Bain or Arvell Reese or David Bailey at number 2, right? So I wouldn't mind Caleb Downs at 2, but who are you going to get as an edge rusher, right? There's really no great edge rushers outside of outside of David Bailey, Arvell Reese, and Rueben Bain, which is why I think the New York Jets should, and I believe they will, prioritize defensive end at number 2. Now, in a world if the Jets trade up to get Fernando Mendoza at pick number 1, Darren Muji did say in an interview today or yesterday, was either one of those, that he says it's very unlikely. It is very unlikely, and I think that's good. As much as I want the New York Jets to get Fernando Mendoza, as much as I am praying that Fernando Mendoza somehow falls to the Jets at pick number 2, because that is a dream. That is a dream scenario. If the Jets are able to get their hands on Mendoza without trading up for him, take him. Take him right then and there, no questions asked. The Jets should not hesitate in taking Fernando Mendoza if he's there at number 2. However, they should not have to trade so much to just get to number 1. And if you're going to really gamble on a guy like Fernando Mendoza, who has never stepped foot on an NFL field yet, that's concerning, right? If the Jets are going to trade multiple first-round picks, multiple non-first-round picks, and possibly a player to the Las Vegas Raiders, I think that's gambling too much on your franchise, right? If in a realistic scenario, the Jets would probably have to give up 3 first-round picks, pick number 2, and I would say two first-round picks in 2027, maybe an additional round 3, round 2 picks, something like that. They'd have to give up so much to move up to get Fernando Mendoza. And in my opinion, hold up. Excuse me there. But in my opinion, I think you're gambling too much on this franchise's future by giving up at least 3 first-round picks. The Jets shouldn't even touch those three first-round picks in 2027. We should not touch them, right? Save those 3 for when we need them. At least 2 out of the 3 ideal picks for next year's draft are Lenore Sellers or Arch Manning and Jeremiah Smith, receiver out of Ohio State. That is ideal. If the New York Jets can have a receiver core of Garrett Wilson, Denzel Boston / Mekhi Lemons, and Jeremiah Smith, that would be awesome, right? If they can have those 3 guys, or even Carnell Tate if they decide to trade up this year, that would be so awesome. One, because it's such a young receiver core. Garrett Wilson would be the youngest would be the oldest out of those 3 guys, and he would only be, I think, 27 years old at the time if Jeremiah Smith is drafted. That is still so young for a wide receiver in the NFL. That is still young. The Jets would have one of the youngest, but in my opinion, one of the most explosive receiver cores if they're able to land their hands on Jeremiah Smith in next season's draft. And quite frankly, they have no excuse not to get Jeremiah Smith, right? If the Jets, it also depends how much his draft stock uprises next season. I think Smith will be a top 6 draft, probably even top 5. If the Jets can find a way to trade up, or if the Jets can, or if the Colts will do really bad next season, or if the Cowboys can do really bad next season, then if the Jets are in prime position to pick at number 5, number 6, they're going to get Jeremiah Smith. Other than that, I wouldn't mind the fact if they're able to trade up with a team that doesn't need a receiver to get Jeremiah Smith. Again, my opinions could change. They probably will change. But as of right now, Jeremiah Smith is one of those guys who you need to go get regardless. There are going to be teams headhunting, bounty hunting for that pick for Jeremiah Smith in 2027. And in my opinion, as of right now, again, this could change. I think the New York Jets should at least take into consideration for trading up, if they're not in the position to trading up to get Jeremiah Smith. Because right now, as of right now, the Jets receiver core is bottom 5 in the NFL, in my opinion. Bottom 5. Besides Garrett Wilson, or at least bottom 10. At least bottom 10. If they're able to land their hands on Jeremiah Smith, that is a perfect draft pick. I have a strong feeling that the New York Jets will have a very strong draft in 2027. Even this year, I have a lot of hope that Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn can get the job done in this year's draft and next year's draft, and hopefully every draft to come after that. So it seems like we have no callers on the line right now, so I'm going to end the live stream right here. Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream on Jack Talks Jets. I will do way more live streams. This was very fun with you guys, and I actually believe this is my first real live stream with you guys since I got my channel or live streaming ban over 5 years ago, because I've only done game reactions and game recaps. This is like a genuine live stream to interact with you guys. So again, I'm so grateful to have this ability to talk to you guys live in front of a live audience again. So grateful for that. So grateful for every single one of you guys that are subscribed and even watch my channel. Again, if you guys like Jets content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Goal is 400 subscribers by September. And make sure to hit that like button if you like more Jets. If you like Jets content like this, make sure to follow my social medias, Jack Talks Jets, everywhere, and on Instagram and X, YouTube, whether you find that. I'm thinking of creating a TikTok soon as well, so go follow that. I'll make an announcement once I make my TikTok to post my clips on. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this live stream today, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, Jet fans.